Negotiation is for preferences. This is part of the series, Negotiation Doesn't Mean What You Think It Means. You're listening to the Mistress Code. I'm RacyWilde. If consent, limits, and boundaries are not negotiable because they are the foundation upon which ethical DS is constructed, then what precisely is being negotiated? Preferences. Preferences are the mutable, expressive domain of negotiation. They are not about safety, but describe what one likes, what one finds pleasurable, interesting, stimulating, curious, or erotic. Preferences refer to activities: pegging, bondage, feminization, humiliation, foot worship, enforced chastity, domestic service, and so on. They are the content of play. They are not mandatory to satisfy, but valuable to understand. Thus, everyone, vanillas, kinksters, BDSMers, roleplayers, and DSers can all negotiate preferences. However, within power-based dynamics, negotiation not only includes preferences, but also the structure and direction of power itself, each of which is modeled distinctly depending on the form of femdom being practiced. Thus, negotiating preferences is not the same as negotiating power. In relative femdom, negotiation is always entirely preference-based. The model invites the submissive to articulate his kinks, fantasies, interests, and goals, and the dominer then decides whether and how to engage with them. Often, the structure of the power is co-authored. They discuss what kinds of power dynamics feel exciting, what language evokes the right response, how far humiliation should go, and what symbols or rituals they wish to use. These preferences guide the construct of the dynamic. When done consciously and respectfully, this can produce highly customized, meaningful scenes and dynamics. However, because of this, the power structure in relative femdom tends to remain conditional. The dominer's dominance is permitted only so far as it aligns with the submissive's stated preferences. This is why it is more accurate to describe such dynamics as collaborative erotic play, conditional or relative, not pure domination. The dominer is granted power to lead and perform, not to author. And even if she is deeply skilled, the direction of the dynamic remains contingent on the submissive's approval. Thus, this power dynamic model is based on mutual satisfaction rather than female sovereign authorship. In absolute femdom, where the premise is female authored domination in alignment with female desire, the role of preferences changes entirely. The submissive may be invited to share his kinks and desires, but this information is offered as a gift, not a guideline. The dominer is under no obligation to fulfill, prioritize, or even acknowledge these preferences. She may use them as a reward, as punishment, or ignore them entirely. Her use of the submissive's preferences is strategic and selective, not responsive. This is not unethical. It is consensual and consistent with the logic of absolute power that the dominer's erotic authorship is the governing force of the dynamic. In this way, the negotiation in absolute femdom is not about content, but about compatibility. The dominer does not shape her femdom practice to fit the submissive. She assesses whether the submissive can align with her system. His preferences become markers, not commands, for her discernment. If she chooses to use them, she will. If not, they remain archived. This is the nature of real surrender. It is not the submissive who is fulfilled by having his preferences met, but the domina who is fulfilled by having her vision actualized. And the submissive, if he is an absolute submissive, finds his fulfillment in that. The next installment is a new chapter in negotiation for BDSM and Femdom dynamics. It's called A Deeper Dive into Absolute Femdom Negotiation.